Happy Friday, artists. This is Beth Cooper. We are finally going to put together all of the objects that we worked on throughout the week into one complete composition. Remember that you need to have the materials available and handy so that you can work with them. A pencil, make sure it's nice and sharp, and erasers. I found another one I'm going to try to make sure this one doesn't have as much dust, and then an ink pen. Now, when we're starting our drawing, we're going to do something that looks like things are actually going further and further back into the distance. This is called the illusion of depth, because we actually are working on a flat piece of paper. Things really aren't three-dimensional, but we can make them look that way by things that we do, some techniques and some tricks that we can do. One of those is the size of the object that we draw. The things that are closer to us are going to be larger and have more detail than the things that are further away from us. Also, placement is really important. Things that are closer to us are going to be lower on the page, and the things that are in the distance are going to be closer to the horizon line, which we're going to draw in a little while, and that's going to be up towards the top of the page. Then we also are going to use a technique called overlap, and if you think about it, when you look at it, things that are further back that are overlapped are going to look like they're behind and further away than those things that are in front. So we're going to use all of those tricks, all of those techniques in order to make our drawing look a little bit more realistic. Of course, this is just a line drawing and it's supposed to be for fun. Okay? All right, so we're going to start by doing our horizon line about a third of the way down. Horizon line is where the water meets the sky out there, and it's just a nice line. We're going to draw everything in pencil first so that if we make any mistakes or we don't like what we've done, it's going to be really easy to erase it before we ink it in. Then we're going to do our shoreline, and our shoreline is going to actually be at an angle, and it's going to go down like this. Okay. Now we've divided our page. This is the beach, this is the water, and this is the sky. All right, so now on the beach, actually I'm going to start with the sky a little bit. We're going to do some of our the drawings that we did over here. I'm going to move the tools that we're using so that you can remind yourself of what that looks like. If you didn't watch the earlier videos, please go back and look at those. I'm going to move pretty quickly through this one because I am expecting that you already know how to draw these, and so we're going to add them onto our page. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add some clouds to the sky, and remember, clouds are made up of curves. So we're going to start by adding a few curves in here, and then don't they kind of look like they're sitting on a shelf, a little bit flat on the bottom like this. I like a partly cloudy day at the beach so that I don't feel like I'm getting sunburned, even though I probably am. And this helps it to feel a little bit cooler, like this. Now, instead of having a sun that's totally bright, you can do that if you want to. Remember, this is your drawing, so you can change it up any way you want to. I'm going to have my sun peeking out from under the clouds. So remember, our sun started with a circle, and some of it's going to be behind the cloud, and some of it is going to be peeking out like this. And the rays, those upside down U's that we started with, I'm going to start from here and create our rays going out like this. Okay, that's going to be our partly cloudy day at the beach. Now, even though the sun is it's partly cloudy, I want to have a umbrella out here. So I'm going to start by putting an umbrella right in here. I'm going to start with that curve, and I'm going to have it slanted at a different angle than what we had on this page, but it's basically going to be the same thing. So I'm going to start with a curve like this. And remember, those little arcs that you put underneath, the ones that are closer to the edge are going to be smaller, and the ones in the middle are going to be bigger. And then we're going to put a little knob at the top, and then kind of follow your pencil straight through and put it on an angle down here, like this. A little bit taller. Okay, then in order to make those lines in your umbrella, remember we're going to follow the curve or the contour of our umbrella. So we're going to start up at the top, and we're going to make curves down to those points. The one in the middle is kind of straight because it goes straight down like that, and we've made our umbrella. Underneath our umbrella, I'm going to put a beach ball. Remember that our beach ball starts with a circle like this. And then it has a smaller circle that's up and to the right a little bit, kind of looks like a navel orange at this point. And then we're going to again add these curved lines, starting from the middle, following the contour of the circle, and at some point it has to kind of go the other direction. It has to curve the other way like this, so that it looks like a beach ball. All right. Another large thing that we're going to have on the beach, of course, is our sandcastle. So we're going to start over here with the sandcastle, and I want it to be fairly tall. So I'm going to actually make more of a rectangle in the middle instead of a square. Have that come down like this. All right, that's the middle of the sandcastle. And then right next to it, remember for our towers, we're going to have those Pringles chip cans or the cylinders on either side. Give it a little bit more three-dimensionality instead of just straight across. And then again, with our tower roofs, we want to make a curve and then go up to a point. Do that on both sides. So placement is really important. So notice that these things that are closer to us are bigger than those things that are further away. Now let's do our crenellation. Remember, it goes over and down, over and up, over and down, over and up, over and down, over and up, and then over. And we're going to add in little rectangles for windows. You can almost imagine that there is a princess in there. We're going to draw everything in with pencil here first, just to make sure that we like what it looks like before we go back with our ink. Now, I'm going to do a little bit of change here because I want it to look more sandy. I'm going to add a little bit of kind of curvy lines like this. So it's going to look like we've been digging around in the sand in order to make our sand castle, like that. All right, next to it, of course, we're going to need our pail or our sand bucket and our shovel. So let's go ahead and put that in. I'm going to start here with the oval for the bucket. And then remember that there's another curve that goes right underneath it that's going to make the lip of the bucket. Draw straight lines going down. And then down below, make another curve that's going to be the base of the bucket. This would be a perfect flower pot. Later on, we're going to be working on flowers. I'm going to erase that because I want it to come in just a little bit. It's the great thing about using a pencil. Okay, and then we're also going to make that handle. Remember, it curves around to the back side, so we can't see it like this. Okay, now I'm going to overlap a little bit of the bucket with the shovel. Remember, our shovel was two squares that was connected by two long lines, or a really long rectangle, either way that you look at it. So I'm going to start down here with the scoop for the shovel, and I decided that I wanted to make it bigger than I did last time. And I'm going to draw diagonal lines like this, and then I'm going to do a square at the top for the handle. Okay, when we go back in to ink it, we'll go ahead and add the detail. Remember, we curved those edges, and we want to make sure that this one looks like it's sitting in the sand too. So we're just going to do like that. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit more over here as well. Now, we need to do our seagull next. Our seagull is admiring our sandcastle. So I'm going to put him down here in the bottom left-hand corner. I'm going to start, remember, the seagull has several steps, but it's not hard if you just follow along. Kind of an oval for his head, or a circle if you want to, and then a rectangle going down for his neck, and then his body is down here below like this, and it's going to be an oval that's on a slant. A little bit on a slant like this. Okay. Then to make his wing, that's going to be another oval that kind of sits along the back like that. And his tail is going to go out at an angle like this. Remember, it's a triangle, and it's going to have kind of a wavy edge at the bottom. Then for his legs, we're going to start with two triangles. There's one there, and there's one there. And that's going to go straight down to his knobby knees. Add circles for his knees, and again straight down, and you're going to have triangles for his feet. Remember, these are webbed feet. Right? Then for his head, coming out from his face, we got to have his beak, and that's going to be a triangle. So there's the basic shape for our seagull. So let's go back in and add some detail to it. We're still going to work in pencil before we add the ink, just to make sure that we like what we've got going on here. So let's go ahead and make the curve of the head, and then the neck kind of curves in a little bit. Same thing with the bottom here, the curve in a little bit from the bottom of the beak down to his chest. And then we're going to draw a curve down like this, all the way down to the bottom of that triangle for his leg. I think that looks more interesting that way. And then we're going to do that, continue that curve out to his tail. I'm actually going to change the shape of his tail a little bit more like that. Okay. Then remember, we're going to make the oval on the back, on his back, a little bit more pointy at the top and a little bit more pointy at the bottom, so that we can add some feathers to his wing. And then coming out from his face, remember we said that there is a little bit of a knot on the end of his nose, or on the end of his beak like that. And then we're going to add the detail for his face like that. Pretty good seagull. Oh, we got to do the webbing on his toes too. And that'll be easy to ink in because we already have all of that detail in there.